Hey guys, it's me, the Bombay Chef Varun Inamdar, and welcome to Get Curried. Well, today's recipe is straight from the land of rivers and ponds. It's also a nation that loves its fish. Some of you may have guessed it right. I'm speaking about Bangladesh. And the recipe for the day is Dhaka fish fry. Let's begin. For Dhaka fish fry, of course, you can use any boneless fish. The one that I'm using is a ghole, which is also known as a black spotted croaker fish. But like I said, the choice is completely yours. Let's begin the recipe with chili flakes. Again, how spicy or how pungent you want this recipe to be is your personal take. To this, let's add in some roasted cumin powder. Well, I'm just adding these spices to begin with because I want the fish to also kind of get that flavor. Otherwise, it's just going to start tasting like a batter. What we can also add at this stage is some lemon juice. Now, it's important to kind of bring in that right balance between vinegar and lemon juice, because vinegar is going to, of course, give you the acetic acid flavor, which is kind of borderline synthetic, but the fresh lemon juice is going to bring that spurt of acetic acid. Very important. Let's add in fresh squeeze of lemon. Now, again, you can make this recipe only with lemon juice or only with vinegar. But the original or the traditional way of making this is with a mix of both the acids. Squeeze this nicely. Ensure that you pick all the seeds so that you do not have surprises while eating the fish fry. Also, it's a starter, so in case I've just forgotten to tell you. Let's add in some refined flour. Well, again, do not overdo this because you do not want that layer of flour. You want the prominence of fish to be in the recipe. To bring in that wonderful crispy texture from the outside, of course, I'm going to add in cornstarch. With this, time to add in vinegar, like I said. Well, this is also going to work as the binding, not just the flavor or not just the acid in this recipe, but also binding, because this recipe does not have water. It, of course, has lemon juice, it has vinegar and egg. So that brings us to a whole egg. Let's pour this. The next that I'm going to add is some chili. Now this time the chili is to bring in that wonderful color, the bright red color in the fish fry. Well, if you remember, for spice, we already have chili flakes. Next, an element of crunch, an element of bite, and that is some sesame seeds, untoasted. Because it's a fried recipe, of course, it's going to get wonderfully coated and colored. So untoasted sesame seeds. Finally, salt as required. Do not overdo the salt, because once the liquid kind of evaporates, the salt as residue is going to have a very lingering aftertaste. Mix, 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 and this finally goes straight in the kadhai or to get deep fried. Our fish is mixed, marinated and ready. Now, in case you have the guests who are going to come a little later, at this stage this can be refrigerated. Do not deep freeze this fish or marinated fish, because it's going to kind of leach out all the water, all the moisture, and it's going to be dried out. That's also one of the major reasons why you do not use frozen fish while frying. Always choose the best quality fresh fish, debone it, clean it, wash it, cut it into batons, and that's where you kind of lead the recipe to. At this stage, now I'm going to add in white sesame seeds. I'll bite generously like so. Well, of course, I've added it in the recipe, but I'm also adding it on top, because I want every piece of fish to have that little crusting from outside. Of course, it's not going to be rolled in like a sesame finger or something like that, but just kind of coated in sesame. Simultaneously, I've also kept oil to heat in a kadhai so that it kind of heats up so that frying becomes easier. Let's pick up each slice or each baton of fish and start frying this. Of course, now at this stage, do not mix it, because you want that crusting of sesame to be visible. In case you feel it's a little lower, sprinkle in some more. Also, do not overcrowd the pan, because you do not want the fish to get clogged or clumped onto each other. After 30 to 40 seconds, just give it a little bit of a jiggle. Do not get into any hurry of stirring this or shaking this, because you'll just end up removing all the wonderful batter from top of the fish. If I can just show you quickly, well, that's how beautifully and wonderfully it's just crusted somewhere. It's not crusted somewhere, and that's the beauty of this fried fish. Fry this till it's wonderfully crisp and golden brown on the outside. Well, also because it looks kind of orangish yellow in color, you may not be able to check the doneness of the fish, but always you can break one, check if it's cooked from within, and that's where fish fry is done and ready. The fish is fried and ready. Let's pull this out of the hot oil and transfer this on an absorbent tissue paper so all the excess oil gets drained away. Well, similarly, let's start frying the other batches as well. With this, the Dhaka fish fry is of course fried and ready. The next step is one of my most favorite, of course, tasting and serving. Well, that's what I mean by steam jutting out of the finger. Extremely piping hot, but superb in terms of flavor and texture. My favorite. Now that the tasting is done, let's move to plating. Let's also add in some slices of lime or lemon. And last but not the least, some sliced red onions. I've reserved these in cold water. With this, your Dhaka fish fry is done and ready. Make this for family, make this for friends, and ensure that you bring the streets of Dhaka straight in your homes. Bye for now.